the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
It's Tim Albright with AVNation with an AVNation special. This is Ted Thompson, and I am not in my studio, but I'm in his office, his experience center in New York. First, tell folks what you do at Pollux.
Thanks, Tim. I'm a senior director of enterprise sales in New York, and so I cover very large enterprise. And now at HP, I cover healthcare too for the East Coast.
Very cool.
So yes.
Speaking of healthcare, we got the full tour here from Erica, and one of the solutions is a mobile Poly health cart.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put that. There's probably an official term for it.
Yeah, well, I think that
works. So what we're doing is we're hanging out here. We're doing a couple of specials here, but I wanted to take the opportunity with you. HP obviously, purchases Poly a short time ago. You're in the middle of that integration. So talk about what it means for Poly having an overarching, a large technology corporation to kind of fold into.
Yeah, well, it does a lot for us. Actually, it gives us a lot of scale. But by the way, day one was for the integration was November 1 of last year. So we're in day two.
Wow.
November 1 in 2023. So we're fully integrated as a company into HP systems, which was a big deal. That took time to do. So that process is going forward. For my team, we're fully integrated into the Salesforce at HP, which is great. From a perspective of how HP helps Poly, it's just tremendous. I mean, where to start? I mean, the scale of how we can reach people, the breadth of solutions around hybrid work that we can provide people. Think about all of the tools that people needed, several years ago when we were all working from home. You think about it: laptop, printer, headset, video. We're probably the only company right now who can provide the complete solution of hybrid work tools for people to work from home or really anywhere. So it gives us tremendous scale.
That actually gives me a really good segue into my next question. Is that work from anywhere segment, right? And not just Poly, but a number of other folks that are talking about the remote work, right? And I have come to appreciate and buy into the remote work from anywhere terminology as opposed to work from home or work from the office, right? So talk about what Poly is able to do for those work from anywhere folks.
Well, we'll call it hybrid work.
Hybrid work. Right? Okay, we'll kind of meet in the middle.
Right, because I think the thing that has changed over the last year is, employers want people to come back to the office to capture that magic that happens when people are in front of each other, right? The truth is, most people really liked working hybrid way, right? Working from home, working from anywhere. So, how can we help them? Well, the first part of it is determining. Let me step back. One of the great things about HP and Poly together is the tremendous kind of research that we've done over the years to understand how people work. So we just went through a work relationship index at HP where we're understanding, what is the employee's relationship with the office and work, and what do they need when they come to the office. Additionally, Poly and formerly Plantronics did a tremendous amount of research on work style personas. So what were the different kind of tools that people needed for their type of work style? So how they worked. And so we would categorize them into 6 or 7 different categories, from an office worker on the end where, hey, you're going to need a hard phone in the office and you might need a headset, or you might need a webcam, or what tools you need, to a hybrid worker, or what we might call a connected executive, or somebody who's on the road using the latest and greatest tools all the time. They might only use a mobile device, so the kind of tools that they'll use. So we start by talking about work styles, and measuring employees that way and helping them to survey them so we can figure out exactly what kind of tools we have. Because you can imagine, we provide tools for all of the different cloud platforms and for every different style, from like Bluetooth to webcams, the full breadth of solutions. So how do you narrow that down into making sure that the right people are getting the right tools to be successful?
You guys actually just released probably about a month or so ago. We're recording this the first of December. You released a pretty substantial survey, right? A report on people's relationship with work,
Right.
right? So you're looking at the resources that Poly now has. One of the things that I'm struck by is the buying power of HP that Poly now has, and we all felt issues going through the pandemic, supply chain issues. I don't know that anybody was completely insulated from that.
Right.
But talk for a second about what that gives you now. Should another pandemic happen? Should another chip shortage happen?
Yeah, well, I work with supply chain from day to day to
Yeah.
make sure that we're filling for our customers, so that we're being accurate around forecasting for them and when we can deliver
Yeah.
goods and things like that. So it is much better, right? Way more stable than it ever has been for the most part. HP gives us lots of scale in that way, but they also give us a lot more. Think about all of the engineering talent that a company like HP has from developing solutions over the years. We can apply that methodology to what we do. They've also invested heavily in us from an engineering standpoint. So we just have more engineers working on like cool things for the future, like AI, right? We were talking about that before, right? So it requires a lot of engineering effort. And that's probably the most substantial, I think, back end thing that the HP has done for us in the short term in the last year is really invest in us in that way and bringing new products to the market, make sure that the right products come into the market. Because we were talking about it earlier also, like developing solutions for cloud platforms like Microsoft and Zoom requires a lot of talent. They do things differently, but give you great outcomes.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you build for that on their architecture? It takes a lot of engineering resources, which we now have a lot of.
Yeah. Talk for a second about the next 12 months. And through the pandemic, I have broken myself of the habit of asking people what's going to happen the next 5 years. If I got nothing out of the pandemic, that's what I got, right? Is you don't ask anybody for 5 years because no, any of us know. I mean, I am going to ask for the next 12 months. So take a look and take a look at that hybrid model. And you and I can both read two different papers on 2 different days about this Fortune 100 company going back to the office, or this Fortune 100 company selling all of their real estate, right? And nobody's but for the next 12 months, what does that work from that hybrid model look as far as Poly is concerned?
Yeah, there's a couple things there. So companies are figuring out which platform they're going to be on. They've kind of sorted that out, right? They're using Teams or they're using Zoom, and they have features that go along with that and that are important to them, and that's why they choose one or the other or both, right? The reality is many of them are using both. So they're picking a platform, and then essentially, we're trying to help them. We look at things like our work relationship index, and one of the key issues is that employees aren't confident that their employers are picking the right tools for their hybrid work moving forward, right? So we have to help customers build those solutions out so that we're building the right kind of solutions when they come back to the office to bring them back to the office. So understanding that, being consultative, working with customers, working with our partners to be able to understand, what are we building and are we building the right kinds of things? So we have to plan for all of those kinds of scenarios. So we're investing heavily in that. We're also from both a personal device, perspective, but also for conference like the one we're in today.
Yeah.
And if you look at Teams and Zoom and the different cloud platforms, they're building out all of these features. Like we're in a Zoom room today, and they use something called Intelligent Director, which allows us to take 3 cameras in a room and build that into streams to build out a more equitable kind of experience. Now, it's only 2 of us in here in the room today, but if there were 10 of us in the room and 5 remote participants, how do we want to view that? And, the prevailing notion around that today is meeting equity. And what does that mean? And I found out over the last year meeting with customers, what they're building for is different for every company. But Zoom has Intelligent Director, which allows you to do multi-stream and essentially put different heads in boxes to give it like a more Zoom or Teams like experience, regardless of where you're sitting. So you have an equitable space in that meeting. and technology that gives you a voice so you can be seen and heard clearly to everybody in the meeting. Microsoft has IntelliFrame and Modular Room. So what we're doing is building these solutions to be able to work within those cloud platforms to give equitable, great audio and video experiences.
Really quickly, because meeting equity is also something I've learned is incredibly important over the last 2 years. When you say meeting equity and you talk with clients, are they talking about, when they say meeting equity, are they referring to the people in the room? Are they referring to the remote participants? Are they talking about everybody?
I think I'm talking about everyone.
Okay.
Right? How can everybody be seen and heard equally?
Okay.
So if you're working in a conference room like this, it's really important to build that out so that you can, we call it your best face forward. Like we're talking today and we're just in a single stream on a Zoom call. But if this were an intelligent director experience where we might have multiple cameras in the room, if I'm speaking to you, does the far end really want to see the side of my head speaking to you? Right? That's what we want is for them to see me talking to you and you talking to me. So if we use multiple cameras and then multiple streams in the room, then we can put our best face forward so that it's actually a better experience for the far end. Conversely, if you're on the far end, you want to have the same kind of tools that we have in our office, like noise blocking technology, so that you can be heard, without the distractions of something in the background from a home office, which we all live through. So that's technology that we had during the pandemic, which gave customers a great experience with our headsets and our webcams. So, or framing technology at home, like we have it in the office. So what we're trying to do to provide meeting equity is provide the same kinds of AI and framing technology for personal devices that you will have in a room like this. So it's an experience that you can expect to always be good because consistency is key.
All right. Ted, if somebody wants to get a hold of you or Polly, how do they do that?
How to get a hold? Yeah, you can go into LinkedIn and contact if you're a partner, contact your channel manager. You can get a hold of us. If you're a customer, you definitely know somebody at Poly because we're just talking to so many customers right now. These are problems that everybody needs to solve and looking to solve them in the new year. So it's just we are talking to a lot of customers right now.
Good.
If you need to get a hold of me, I don't know. LinkedIn. Call Tim.
Call me. Yeah, I'll find it somewhere.
We didn't even talk about AI.
We didn't. What are you guys doing with AI?
Oh my gosh. Well, so we've got a long history in AI and using that kind of technology with our audio and our camera framing so that we can, from an audio perspective, block out noises like a siren outside the window here behind us because we are in New York, or at home, a dog barking. So you can block that noise out but still be heard. Or if there's noise when you're not speaking, you don't have to think about muting and unmuting. If a noise happens, it's not a natural human voice. It just gates it and shuts it off.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So technology like that, from a camera technology perspective, we use our director AI, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, to look at intelligent framing, how we're doing framing around a group shot, kind of like we have today, or and we do great demonstrations of that here in our EDC in New York, or how we're doing speaker tracking and things like that, or being able to provide multi-stream to work with Intelligent Director or IntelliFrame, and again, all these cloud services. So doing a lot there in that perspective. But I also think about how these cloud platforms are building their own AI, like AI Companion in Zoom or Copilot in Teams, and the kinds of new things that we can bring to meetings, like contextual information, or building out next steps for meeting participants and putting that into a Teams room, or providing that through Zoom. I think that's a game changer moving forward. How we take those AI features, not just audio and video features, but contextual features around the meeting itself. And I think that is something that's really going to explode next year.
Well, it also goes back to your point about the resources HP has in the engineering side, right? Not that you didn't have fantastic engineers when it was just Poly and Plantronics, right? But you have an entire group that were dedicated to creating really incredible computers. Now, looking at the AI side of this as well, so that actually goes back to that as well.
Yeah, one of the things that was it was part of the earnings call that was the other day, and my handler's over here, so I'm not going to get too far into the earnings call. But one of the things Enrique spoke about was AI-enabled compute.
Yeah.
Right, and how those things are going to kick off next year and be really interesting. So we're building AI into our personal systems. Just think about what we could do with that potential, that kind of engineering with our hybrid work solutions, or how they can work together.
All right, stay tuned on that one. So, all right, poly.com, or you can go on Ted.
HP.com.
HP.com, or LinkedIn if you
or
just
LinkedIn,
want to
sure.
find him. For us, for AVNation, go by our website, AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv, and find more videos like this and a host of other stuff. All that and more at AVNation.tv. It's AVNation.tv.